All right, hello. Get started. So can I have everyone who's on the student panel turn on their cameras? And I'll introduce myself and kind of how the panel is going to run. So I'm Jess. I'm a team leader here in the visitation program. I'm a junior and I'm from Wilmington, Mass. I'm studying early childhood education and psychology with a minor in special ed. I'm also a member of the honors program, the treasurer for the Honor Student Congress, and the vice president of finance for the American Cancer Society on campus. So we'll have 4 student tour guides on our panel, and we'll have others in the chat. You can use the chat function to ask us questions if you would like them answered via a student panel. And if no one asks questions, we do have questions that we will ask from our list. So can I have Sean introduce himself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean. I'm also a team leader for the visitation program here at BSU. I'm a psychology and a criminal justice major. I'm also a sophomore. I commuted my first year and I live on campus now. I'm involved with a ton of things all over campus. So if you have any questions about that stuff, I can totally help you out with that.
Thank you. And Holly, can you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Holly. I'm a senior at BSU and I am a studio art major with anthropology minor. I've been a commuter student for the last 3 years and I'm also a tour guide, as Jess mentioned. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you. And Malika, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Malika and I'm a junior chemistry major with a double minor in math and psychology. I am a residential student. I have lived on campus the past 3 years that I've been at BSU, and then besides being a tour guide, I'm also a member of the women's track and field team, a sister of Delta Phi Epsilon, and then an honor student as well.
Thank you. And finally, Omar, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Omar. I'm a sophomore this year, majoring in computer science, and I'm a tour guide on campus, and I'm involved in Greek life and Phi Kappa Theta, and I'm a commuter.
Thank you. So first off, we'll start off with why we all chose BSU. So Sean, can you start us off?
Yeah. So my family has always been a Bridgewater family. My dad graduated from here. A lot of my cousins have. My aunt still works here in the physics department. So if you ever take any physics classes, you can always stop by there. And it was always just like kind of the natural step for me. I used to tag along with my dad when he was going to school here when it was Bridgewater State College, and he also got his computer science degree here. And it just always was what college was. So when the time came for me to pick colleges, it was the natural choice. And I never looked back to have my program. And it's such a great place to be. It really is home to so many people, including myself.
Thank you. Holly, why did you choose BSU?
So kind of like Sean, my mom went here, other family members came to BSU, so I'd always heard about it, visited the campus a few times, but I did take a gap year between high school and college just because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. So when my sister-in-law was a student at BSU, she let me attend her classes with her for a day just to kind of get a feel for it. It felt like home. I absolutely loved it. I put my application in and I never looked back. Like Sean, it really is such a great welcoming place and such a wonderful community.
Thank you. Malika, why did you choose BSU?
So I was originally committed to a school in New Jersey, and as you should do with any school I went to go visit, decided I couldn't spend 4 years there because it smelled like fish, which was very concerning. So BSU was actually a safety school for me. I was going to transfer after a semester, but clearly it's been 3 years here, and it's not because I'm lazy. I love it here. I wouldn't have picked another college.
Thank you. And Omar, why did you choose BSU?
I would honestly say the first tour that I had here on campus like changed everything. Actually, I'm an international student, so I wasn't like at all planning to study abroad. I just came here for a vacation. I had a tour on campus. I like the campus. I like the faculty members. Everyone was friendly. I like the different like variety of programs and majors they had on campus. I had computer science in my mind, so when I looked over computer science and I've seen like all the graduates having good jobs and stuff like that, I definitely chose BSU.
Thank you. We're all glad you guys chose BSU for your all different reasons. So let's talk a little about what it's like to live on campus and what it's like to commute on campus. So why doesn't everyone go around and just share their experience? So know everyone's a commuter and a resident. So Sean, start us off.
Yeah, so I've had the best of both worlds actually. So I commuted 1 year and I'm living on campus this year. Obviously, this year is a little bit different with the pandemic and everything. But so I think the best part about living at home and going to BSU is I was still able to get heavily involved on campus. As you can tell by my sweater and my flag behind here, Sigma Pi was one of those things. I was always also involved in the tour guide program. I was also a student security officer. I was on the e-board of Program Council, which is one of our larger organizations here on campus. They put on events for everybody. And it was just, it was a good experience. And I also got to go home and pet my dog at the end of the day. So I spent my time at BSU. I went to the dining halls, and then I went home and had, my alone time with just myself. So it was really good. But then I came to live on campus, not because I thought that I was missing out on anything at, being at home. It's just I'm one of 7 kids. So being at home is kind of distracting when doing homework and stuff. And so I came to live on campus, and it's different, obviously, because we're in a global pandemic right now. But it is really, truly amazing to wake up and just kind of be at BSU, because even during this time, it's such a beautiful place, and we offer so much for our students. And it's just a really good time.
Thank you. And Holly, what's it like for you to commute to school?
I love commuting. Like I said, I've been commuting with my sister for the last 3 years. We live only 10 minutes away, so it's such a short drive if we ever wanted to come back for anything like bingo, and we always did. As well as my family's really close knit, so I am needed at home for things, and the convenience of just being able to come and go to school and home has been really good for me. And again, I do come visit my friends, obviously pre-coronavirus days, but I go and eat lunch there with my friends and whatnot. Commuting is just, for me, I know that everybody has their own choice of whether commuting is for them or if they do want to go live at school. But for me, I just knew I'd like to be a commuter.
Thank you. And Malika, what's it like to live on campus?
I personally really like living on campus. It's definitely been a really good experience for me to like gain independence from my family, and also just get experience living on my own. Learned how to do laundry the first time freshman year, so that was definitely a bonus. So I think living on campus has really benefited me personally, and I think I've actually been able to grow from it a lot. So I do recommend it if you can afford it. It's a great experience.
Thank you. And Omar, what's it like for you to commute to school?
I would say I enjoy commuting to school. First off, I lived like 10 minutes away from school. Then I moved here in Bridgewater. So I'm basically on campus, like everything is near. So whenever I want to use anything from the resources we have in school, I just like go there. Um, yeah, like I've been always involved on campus. Like I worked in university events before, and yeah, I joined Greek life. So like I would recommend being involved on campus, the best thing. Like even if you're commuting or living on campus.
Thank you. And I noticed in the chat that someone asked that we're a big commuter school. Can someone just explain how we are a residential and commuter school and the split?
Yeah, because I kind of talked about it already, but so we are mostly commuter school. It's about a 60-40 split between all of us. It's about 11,000 students, undergraduate students. So if you take that in half, it's about like 5,000 people who are typically on campus. But to kind of go off of that, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a mostly commuter school, like living on campus must not be the best. I kind of disagree with that, because we have just enough people that there's always something going on typically. Like there's always events and stuff to kind of keep us entertained. It's a little bit different now because of like, the pandemic and trying to, ease off of in-person events so that we're not, creating an outbreak on campus. But then at the same time, even though there's stuff going on and there's people to meet, there's always a quiet place to be, which probably won't happen if you have a mostly residential school. Like if you wanted to go sit outside in University Park and just lay down on the grass and do homework uninterrupted, you can totally do that, and you're going to be able to find that space for yourself. So it's really kind of the best of both worlds, having that experience of having so much to do, but also having a quiet place to be. So don't be discouraged by the fact we're mostly commuter, because I love the fact that I can live on campus and have my own personal time.
Thank you. And I also noticed in the chat that we had a question asked, do a lot of students go home on the weekends? It does look like it's answered, but Malika, can you elaborate on what kind of activities we have on the weekends for students who do decide to stay?
Yeah, of course. So typically there's a lot of events that happen on weekends, such as like watch parties if a sports event's going on, or sometimes they'll have trips to like the local mall or something like that, just so that students are, getting involved and like not just shutting it in their room the entire time, although that is an option if you ever needed to do that. Yeah, so those are typically the events that go on weekends.
Thank you. And since we are all humans and do need to eat food to survive, Holly, can you talk about our dining halls and what kind of dietary restrictions we offer?
Yeah, of course. So we have 4 main dining halls on campus. 2 of them are buffet style, and then the other 2 are kind of food court style, as well as we have 2 Dunkin' Donuts locations on campus and 1 Starbucks location. So you'll never run out of coffee at BSU. You'll have an opportunity to get it pretty much whenever you need it. But food on campus is awesome, and that's coming from me who's really fussy, and I also have a food allergy. So I know when I was coming to college, I was really worried about if I was going to be able to find something to eat and whatnot. And rest assured, you absolutely can. We have certain stations if you do have a food allergy where you can get food that is guaranteed to be not cross-contaminated. All of our food is labeled, whether it's vegan or dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, and whatnot. So you'll always find something to eat for sure.
Thank you. And Omar, can you talk about classes and how we choose classes?
I can start with the class capacity and stuff. So we're having a 35 like student capacity in each class. Obviously, we have an average of 22 to 1 and a ratio of 18 to 1. That means 18 students to 1 professor. So it's pretty much easy to get like to reach out to your professor and everything is like easy. Um, for you mean like choosing classes on Infobear and stuff like that, or
Yeah,
just?
and how you build your schedule.
Oh, okay. So as a first year student, you have to meet up with your advisor like twice. You don't have to be decided for a specific major, so they're gonna kind of like have a meeting with you, pick up classes, the core classes they should be taken, and if you decided for a major, they're gonna check you out for like specific class that you must be taking for your first 2 semesters, and then they kind of check you off, and then you go to Infobear on the student portal that we have, and you kind of choose like your own schedule. You do breaks between classes and stuff like that. And if you always have any troubles with your classes or signing up, you can always reach out to your advisor.
Thank you. And one good question we usually always get are what are RAs and what are their like system in school and what are they there for? Sean, can you talk about them?
Yeah, so RAs are resident assistants, and they are in every single hall on every single floor, and they're essentially there for the other students who live there. They're kind of like a mediator to a lot of situations and stuff. So like if you have any roommate issues, they can help you with that. But really they're there as kind of like a big brother or big sister. Like you go there, for a lot of people, it's their first time living away from home. And a lot of the time your RA is your first friend because they're, actively trying to get you to come out of your room. They put on programs all the time for you. And they're just a great resource for anything that you could possibly need. Like if you're looking to get involved, they can teach you about a lot of the opportunities that you have. A lot of them are also super involved, so they might just invite you to go along with them. But like I said, they also have programs that they put on all the time for people so that you can come out of your room and hopefully meet some of your other residents on your floor. But they're really just an awesome resource for you. And yeah.
Thank you. Holly, can you talk about ways to get involved at school and some of the clubs and organizations we have?
Yeah, of course. So we have 100+ clubs on our campus, and you can find more information about those at our Rendezvous Student Union. We also have various opportunities to get involved through on-campus jobs and whatnot, as well as Greek life and things of that nature. You can find more information about that on our website. There are tons of ways to get involved. all over our campus. And if you can't find a club that you like out of those 100 plus that I mentioned, you can create your own with a faculty member, a friend, and a fun idea. But I'm sure you might find one. Like I said, we have 100 plus.
Thank you. I noticed in the chat that someone asked, what if I need academic help in class? And Calvin mentioned the Academic Achievement Center. Malika, can you talk about some of the resources we have in the Academic Achievement Center?
Absolutely. So, like Jess mentioned, we have so many services offered through the Academic Achievement Center. So, one that I love mentioning is math services. They'll help you with any level of math. So, that's really helpful, especially for me with a math minor. Sometimes I can't figure things out, which is great having that support. We also have a writing studio there, and their job is to help you with any writing assignments. They'll help you brainstorm it and they'll help you write it, but they're not going to write it for you since that's not their job. We also have, I'm blanking. Oh, a communications lab. So if you're a communications major or if you're taking the intro to public speaking class, then they'll help you with speeches. And that's also a really great resource. We have an accounting and finance lab for accounting and finance majors. We also have second language services. So if you are an ESL learner, then certain classes can be taught in other languages, which is really helpful, as well as a couple of other services that I can't remember, but they're all really great and they're all centered around helping you in the best way possible to make sure that you can succeed in college.
Thank you. And one thing I just want to point out is all the resources in the Academic Achievement Center are free for you to use. So definitely utilize them when you're a student here on campus. And Omar, can you talk about undergraduate research and the honors program?
Yeah, sure. So we have the undergraduate research. We ranked #1 in the country. For that, we have students. So if you want to do a graduate research, you can talk to your professor about it according to your major or your class. And I know a friend who did a undergraduate research. They asked the Academic Achievement Center about some stuff and their advisor, and they had a stipend for doing it. So it's not all out of your pocket. And that's pretty much for undergrad research. For honors program, you have to be having GPA of sorry about that, just blanking. Was it 3.3? I guess. Yeah, a 3.3. Yep, right. I'm sorry about that. And GPA of 1150. And the good thing about the honors program, you get to choose to live in certain resident halls, so you don't have to be living with the for example, the freshman resident halls and stuff like that. You can live in Wagon Hall, you can live in Crimson, you can live stuff like that. And you get to pick the classes first ahead of seniors and juniors, so that's a good benefit. And what else? I was thinking. Yeah, there's anything to add about that?
No, I think you nailed it. My favorite part of the honors program is getting to choose classes first with the seniors, especially as a freshman. I never had to worry about having to rearrange my schedule because all of my classes were already selected by the time my other freshman friends took their or chose their classes. Sean, can you talk about how professors are available outside of class time for extra help?
Yeah. So professors are super available outside of class time. As we talked about with our lower class sizes, your professors are very focused on making sure that your needs are met. So like, for example, let's bring up an example from my own life. So like the past couple of weeks have been like a perfect storm of terrible, and I've fallen behind on a couple things. And I always knew that if I really needed that extra time on something, I could just reach out to my professor and they would be more than understanding, especially in this time right now that we're living in. If you email a professor and are like, listen, I'm really struggling right now. Could I get some extra help? Could we set up a Zoom? They would be right on that for you. A lot of them have like a 24-hour rule where they'll get back to you within that time. But most of the time, it's so quick that you wonder whether or not they just sit on their email and wait all the time for students to email them. But most of our professors, actually not most, all of our professors are required to hold at least 2 office hours a week. Those are up to them when they have them, but they'll always be on the syllabus that you get at the beginning of each semester. So like at the beginning of the semester, you'll see your syllabus and say you're taking like statistics. They'll say at the top, like their office hours are between are on Monday, Tuesday from like 1 to 2 in like DMF 247. And then you could go into their office and ask them any questions that you could possibly need. But at the same time, office hours may not work for you. Like you might have a class at that time. And all you have to do is reach out to your professor and they'll be more than willing to work with you, because this isn't one of those things like, I know I had teachers in high school that were like, you're going to fail this class. And I was like, oh, great, you're bad at your job. That's great. That's never going to happen here in college. All of them are focused on making sure that you are learning something in their class and you are growing. Because I know I have had plenty of classes where I'm not a math person. My entire family is STEM and engineers and computer scientists. And I'm like, psychology, because math is not my thing. So when I had to take math classes, I was pretty much upfront with that. I was like, I'm not that great, so I'm going to be asking a ton of random questions. And all my professors have been super willing to help me out and get me through the classes, but not just like get a good grade, but make sure that I understand each of the classes. So professors are super awesome at BSU, and they're super approachable.
Thank you. Our professors love us and we love them. Another cool thing about their office hours is you don't have to have them to go pop in and say hi to them. You can go to former professors. If you've heard a professor does really cool research and that's something you're interested in, you can go and talk to them about that. They just love to hear from students. If you know they have a dog and you're a dog lover, go talk to them about their dogs. Just want to know to get to know all of us, so they're always available. And Holly, can you talk about jobs on campus and how to apply for one?
Yeah, of course. So located in our Boyden Hall, we do have our Office of Student Employment, and you can find more information out about on-campus jobs. We offer work-study jobs as well as non-work-study jobs, and they range from everything from like doing outdoor work and keeping up the campus, or being a tour guide, doing office work in some of our offices as well. Working at the front desk in certain buildings and whatnot, or even helping out in the gym facilities. But you can also find more information out on the website. There is a specific website to go to. You'll be able to click student on-campus jobs, and it'll show you a ton of different options, and then you'll be able to upload an application and go right from there, and then you should hear back and usually get an interview, and then hopefully you'll get the job. And I love my on-campus jobs so much, just because here at BSU, all of our on-campus jobs, they do try to work around your school schedule, because they know that school does come first. So they will be very forgiving and know that you do have coursework and whatnot, and it is just so great.
Thank you. And Malika, can you talk about safety on campus and some of the safety features we have?
Absolutely. So I'm going to start off with the blue light system. It's a gigantic blue pole, and we have several of them around campus. And then the rule for that is that from one blue light, you should be able to see another one. So that will connect you to one of our 22 full-time police officers, who are the real deal. And their station is located right behind Shade Ergen, so they're very close to campus. So they have a really quick response time. So that's really great to know, knowing that they're there for safety purposes. We also have a transit system, which isn't technically safety, but it goes along with safety, that runs on a set schedule from 7 to 7, from 7 to 2. If you call the transit system, they'll come get you from wherever you are and bring you to where you need to be. And then if you're out after 2 a.m., if you call the non-emergency line of the police department, they'll come get you and bring you to where you need to go, which is really nice, especially when it's cold outside. You happen to have a late night studying at the library. It's a great resource. And then we also have a siren located on top of the library. Kind of sounds like the siren from The Purge, that goes off for any local, state, or national emergency. And then it'll send a call, text, and email to you and your parent or guardian, letting you know what's going on and how to take precautions. And then after it's over, they'll send another call, text, and email to you and your parent or guardian, letting you know how to proceed with the rest of your day.
Thank you. And Omar, can you talk about cars and are freshmen allowed to have cars on campus?
Absolutely. So unfortunately, first year students are not allowed to be having their cars on campus. But there's a certain raffle that our president Fred Clark does which students submit like an essay on the writing about why they want to be having their cars on campus, and they sort of like choose I think like 100 students, and there's other reasons for having cars on campus besides the raffle, which is medical issues and stuff like that. And we do have the transit, like I mean the train station on campus, so we're only one of the only state schools that have the train station on campus, so sort of like you have a way to go back and forth, especially like going to Boston and coming back and stuff like that.
Thank you. And our time is running out. So our last question for everyone is going to be, what is one piece of advice you'd give to an incoming freshman? So Sean, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of personal experience. So when I started off college and looking at colleges, I was very concerned about the price tag, because who isn't? I mean, you go from making, like in high school, I worked a part-time job where I got like $100 like every other week. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, drop like thousands of dollars on college. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never gonna, be able to afford this. But then I kind of came to a conclusion that if I'm doing what I like to do and I'm having a good time doing it, then it doesn't matter if I have to live in a box for the rest of my life. But luckily, Bridgewater is not one of those places where you're going to have to live in a box after you graduate from here. It's very affordable. And there are tons of different ways that you can, get through college. Like if you don't want to pay so much for room and board, you can always become an RA. There's so many scholarships and stuff for you. There's financial aid that you can get on. Don't let yourself be daunted by the price tag, because you're investing in yourself and it's a worthy investment. So some people might consider college a waste, but it really isn't, because even after I graduate, I don't just get a degree. I just spent 4 years making so many friendships and so many experiences and having a good time. And I'm going to carry that with me for the rest of my life. So not only do I have my degree, but I also have friends that are going to last the rest of my life. So that's something to keep in mind.
Thank you. And Holly, what's your one piece of advice?
My one piece of advice is to, when you're choosing your major and everything, and if it's going to relate to your career in the long run, choose something that makes you happy, because in the long run, you do have to be happy in what you do and how you do spend your life, and what your career is. That's just really important, just so you can live your life to the fullest. And I know that sounds like really silly, but it's not when you look at the big picture. And even if you do have to change your major along the way to do that and to be happy, that's totally okay.
Thank you. And unfortunately, we're not going to have time for Malika and Omar's piece of advice, but you guys can put it in the chat if you want. So thank you for coming to our student panel. Hopefully we were able to give you information that you hadn't heard about before. You can head on to our other concurrent sessions that will be happening next. You can check it out at our landing page, which will be in our chat and will also be up on your screen. So thank you for coming, and hope to see you on campus as a future bear.